move now to Deputy Ruth Coppinger.
Thanks, Count Corla. Minister, it's an outrage that planning permission will be given on this site where over 900 children that we know have died, but only 64 graves have ever been found, happening despite all of the campaigning of survivors and the groups connected with them. Now, I want to just mention something that the Minister for Justice said in the Dáil here the other day when it was raised with him. He basically acted like hands in the air, government powerless, terrible altogether. He used the words, the government cannot interfere in respect of planning applications. Of course it can. I mean, the government can actually submit, it could object, the Minister could object to the planning application. For example, have you done that? But as well as that, this is just part of a pattern of Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael, the two parties that were in power for over the 100 years when all of this happened, allowing the Church off the hook because you don't want the history examined of your role in all of this. That's the conclusion we have to draw. And, you know, the idea that the government's powerless, you were in passing emergency laws for the hauliers, you know, in the last couple of nights here. You could have passed emergency laws. That land should never have been allowed to be sold by that congregation. You should have made sure of that. And just who's the congregation? Sacred Heart of Jesus and Mary. As of last year, the congregations involved in ongoing discussions with yourselves regarding financial contributions to a redress scheme for survivors, with reports indicating that they have resisted demands for payment on the grounds that they did not act in an untoward manner. This is despite the fact that there's an 80% death rate in some of the years of the existence of the home, obviously not all of the years. They were asked for 96.5 million. They've assets of 37 million, right? I'm rounding the figures up. And they have almost 2 million in cash in the bank. The Nuns sold this site in 2021 and they pocketed 6.85 million. That's your fault. That never should have happened. Fianna Fáil let them away with murder on this since the 1990s, and you could have intervened to put a law into effect where no congregations could sell any site where there was potential graves of survivors. This is an outrage. So the Clon project has pointed out you're legally bound by the European Court of Human Rights to find any bodies that exist and bring them back, you know, in a suitable manner for the families of those affected. Bessborough was a site of systemic oppression, and you have made sure that that hasn't actually happened. So in the letter, they point out that planning permission was refused here a number of times, you know, so you knew this was going to happen eventually. And I'd say you're happy. You're happy to have this built over so that it's another chapter finished for you. And they pointed out that under the European legislation, investigating deaths of children, mothers, ascertaining the whereabouts of the disappeared and returning the remains to relatives is part of your human rights obligations, which you haven't complied with. The Commission of Investigation into the Mother and Baby Homes, I wasn't in the Dáil when that came out, but I remember reading it and going, here we go again, another whitewash. That report shouldn't be cited, as it should have been voted down by the government because so much of it was so mild in its manner towards the people running the homes. It didn't use all reasonable means to search for the disappeared children. Let's put that one away. So some of the means will be geophysical surveys, radar, electrical resistivity, and magnetometry. The Special Advocate, and I'll just finish on this, for survivors has called for you to stop. Someone you appointed yourself. Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael are trying to bury the truth here. And you're happy that a private developer is putting this out of the way for you.